What's up YouTube, the Random Outdoorsmen are back. Today we'll be making and testing the PVC Longbow. Why don't you tell us how to do that?
Alright, so I've been doing a lot of research into PVC bows recently. I've seen how to make them using heat guns and a mold, maybe adding fiberglass to the middle, but I haven't seen very many videos on how to make a very simple one requiring nothing extra. And so I wanted to show you how to make one of these, and we're going to be doing that in today's video. So what I'll tell you need is, you'll see pretty soon, but I say that you need a 3/4 inch piece of PVC. What I mean is 3/4 inch inner diameter and 1 inch outer diameter. But this exact PVC I got, it's sold as 3/4 inch, even though the outside diameter is 1 inch. So we're gonna be showing you how to make it and what you need to do that, and then showing you some really cool tests that we're doing up here. Stay tuned, you're not gonna wanna miss this. Okay, so here's the making of it. All you have to do, you start out with your 5-foot long piece of standard 3/4 inch PVC. You're going to take on one of the ends, just mark a little spot, and then pick up the other end and line up that spot down the other end. So just basically so you have a mark on each end that are both lined up. You can sometimes do that with the lettering, but the lettering doesn't always go all the way down. Like this, made in the USA, it does not go all the way down to the other end. So I was not able to use that. But you see I have a mark here on this end and a mark here on this end. This is just gonna be so that your notches are lined up. Then you're gonna measure a little bit less than 3/4 of an inch down and mark there and kind of get an idea of where your notch is gonna be. Do that same thing on the other end. Like I said, make sure they're both lined up. This is important, but not crucial. My first one I made, I did not get the notches lined up perfectly, and it still worked great. Then you're gonna find your midpoint, which is not that, it's right here. With your midpoint, you're going to take some electrical tape. I've just found that this helps. Put it right there at the bottom of your midpoint, and then just give it a little bit of a wrap. What this is going to help you do is, when you start shooting the bow, it's going to allow you to nock it easier because you'll have the exact middle spot. Now I know for some longbows and other longbows, the handle is centered and the arrow is slightly off-center. But for some, the arrow is centered and the handle is slightly below center. I'm doing it like this. This is how it worked for me last time. If you want to do it not like this, then all you have to do is put your handle in the center and put your notch wherever you want it. There's my center now. Now I have these parts. I'm going to take the mini hacksaw and start with this right side and basically just cut a notch down straight here. So, straight notch. Once you get a straight cut down about 1/4 of the way, you can go halfway down for your notch, but I found that that is not very good to do. I think that it would probably result in it breaking in the long term, so I'm only going a little bit farther than 1/4 of the way down. By the way, this initial straight down cut is going to be slightly below your mark here, so this is going to be at about 3/4, and then your next diagonal cut is going to be slightly under 3/4, so you've made a notch. So now diagonally cut down so that those two meet. Once you have those two notches cut and they meet, the best type of file that I found to use is a half round file. It makes almost the perfect size and shape notch. You see the notch I have right here, it's straight on this side and round on this side. So you're basically just going to take it down. You see it's not quite halfway, but a little bit more than 1/4 of the way. So take your file it down, make sure that this notch is still centered with the original mark you made, and that's all you really have to do. So once you have that done, you can maybe put some little bits of taper on the edge so it's not sharp on your string. So I'll just do that right now. That's all I got to do. It's kind of nice. This material is really easy to work with. So there's one notch. You're basically going to take the other side, do the exact same thing. We're going to skip to that next. Once you have your two notches cut on the top and bottom, you can add any tape you want for aesthetics. We might add a little bit to the middles here. Also, you could take off the lettering if you want to. All you gotta do is take some acetone and put it on a paper towel or a rag, and you can wipe off all the lettering and all the Sharpie marks, and even sometimes that stickery adhesive that was on here, if you don't want that on there. You also would need to do that if you're gonna spray paint it. We're not gonna spray paint these yet. We might at some point, but not today. I also added an extra piece of tape above that center line, so it kind of gives you a nice spot to look at. So you're like, okay, that's exactly where I need to knock my arrow at. Once you have this, take about 6 feet of paracord. You're going to tie 2 just overhand loops and about 4 feet apart. So this is a 5-foot piece. You're going to loop it over the first one, put that down toward the ground. You see, since this is a 5-foot piece, this is about 4 feet up. That's what it's going to take, because even 550 paracord stretches quite a bit. By the way, this is Paracord Planet, black 550 cord. In between different paracord companies, you get different strengths and different stretchinesses. Like Steven has Walmart paracord, we've gotten that before, and it's thicker. This stuff's just a little bit thinner. Once you have this like this, you're just going to bend down the bow. Now, I would advise you, maybe don't put your leg in here for the first time you bend it, because when I did last time for my first bow I made, it actually put a bend in the bow, like a not good, slight bit of a crease. It didn't affect it very much, but I still didn't really like it being there. So if you can, and if you're strong enough, just place the bow firmly on the ground. Some concrete will help it not slide. Pull it down like this, and then hook your string, or rope, sorry, up over into the notch. You see the space there? A good bit of advice is take your thumb, make a thumbs up because that's good, and put it in between the bow and the string. You see that comes just to the top of my thumb? That's exactly where you want it to be. That'll stop it from hitting your arm as much. Still might hit your arm a little bit, but it will stop it from smacking into the back of your hand. Because if you ever pulled back a bow and smacked it into the back of your hand, it doesn't feel good at all.
No.
It hurts really bad. I know Steven doesn't like it a lot.
No, it's terrible.
So this is perfect now, and you see it's really simple. I mean, all we did, cut 2 notches, a little bit of tape, a little bit of paracord, and it's done. Now before we go shoot it, we're going to have all kinds of tests. We're going to be shooting it close, middle, far. We're actually going to be curving some arrows with it, so this is going to be pretty fun. But what I wanted to point out was how many pounds it is, because I've seen a lot of videos where guys have fiberglass rods stuck inside, and it's like 45, 50 pounds, where it's heated up with a heat gun and bent different directions, and that's a lot more weight. But for this design, when I took a fish weigher, this pulls about 35 pounds. So that's pretty good, just a piece of PVC. I put about 150 rounds through mine yesterday, and it did not break, it didn't flex, it didn't collapse, nothing happened, and it's really good. So here we go, on to the testing. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, that was good. Man. Ooh.
Got it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed those test videos. A couple quick things that we obviously didn't say during the test videos. I put my bow, not the exact one you saw, but a different one I made, through about 200 to 300 rounds, and it had a little bit of a bend in it after it was done, but that was only because I flexed it with my leg instead of just bending it, like I told you guys in the building process. So do not put your leg through the bow and bend it like that. You'll put a crease in it, it'll be bad. So I shot a lot of rounds through that. It still held its tension and still shot great. I made another one just because I didn't like that bend, but it's doing great as well. So almost all of the clips that we did, they were 1st to 5th try. For some of the farther ones, that one really long shot, that was 1st try. But some of the curving ones took a little bit longer. But still, it's a pretty good bow. I mean, if you get the PVC at like Tractor Supply or Carter Lumber or something, you can get a 10-foot piece for $4 or $5, and that means you get 2 bows for about $2 or $3 each. So that's pretty cool. We had a lot of fun doing this. Any thoughts on the bow?
Another thing we did was we put knock rests on them. Just makes it a little bit more accurate, so you can put your arrow in the right place. It was like $5 or $4 for 5 of them.
Yeah, 4 for 5.
4 for 5 at Cabela's. So that's the only extra thing we did.
Yeah, you can even use a little bit of tape if you want to, but we just thought the knock rests would just be a little more lasting. So, I mean, you can make a pretty cheap bow that works pretty well and get yourself into archery. So that's all for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you liked it, and if you want to see more. So,
see you in the next video.
Happy trails!